Alright everyone, I am back with another comic book review. This time I'm going to be reviewing 100 Bullets First Shot, Last Call. This is the first volume I picked up and read by Brian Azzarello. Brian Azzarello is quickly becoming one of my favorite writers. He's written a lot of stuff. He's doing DC First Wave right now. He did the Joker, that Joker novel he did, graphic novel. He did the Lex Luthor Man of Steel, which is really good. He did Superman for Tomorrow, which is really good. He's done some really notable things that I've really liked. And just from this first volume, I can tell he really just digs the urban type of style of writing. This basically is taking a bunch of short stories that intertwine, and it's actually 100 issues long. Yes, it does span for 100 issues long, and I don't know, I think it got an Eisner. So and other writers and stuff like that liked it, which I'm going to mention later at the end of the review. But basically, like I said, the plot is that there's different short stories that interact. Now, there's an agent. His name is Agent Graves. He will present a person at the beginning of a story, or towards the beginning of the story. He'll come and meet the person. He'll give them a gun, and he'll give them a suitcase that has 100 bullets in them. He'll tell them, "You've been done wrong. You have the chance to set things right." And it goes from there. Now, the first story deals with a character named Dizzy. She was I really liked this. The first story was really good. It deals with a character named Dizzy. She was an ex-gangbanger. I think she was either a vice lord, or she was I think she was a Blood, which are actually real life gangs. So right there, you can kind of tell Brian has done his research. Those are actual real gangs in real life. And the character on the cover, if you can see the cover, she has a teardrop on the left side of her eye. That's actually what the gang does in real life, because I've had the unfortunate pleasure of crossing one of those gang members like that in my school. But yeah, that's a real gang. The Vice Lord and the Kings, I think they were talking about in here. And basically, she wants to change her life. Now, Agent Graves approaches her. He says, "Hey, Dizzy, I got a gun right here. I got 100 bullets." And basically what happened was, I don't want to give away too much, but I'm just going to talk about the first story because I really liked it. Dizzy's husband and her baby were killed by cops. They were killed by corrupt cops who live in the city area. And Agent Graves says, I'm gonna let you rectify things. I'm gonna let you set things right. Now, the choice is up to you, of course. But he tells her, whatever you do, do not open that case. Not until you need to, or there's going to be consequences. And the story progresses, and Dizzy, she gets out of jail. She goes back into her neighborhood. She runs into her ex-gang members, who were actually, I'm going to give away some information here, so sorry if I'm spoiling, who were actually working with the cops. But Dizzy didn't know that at first. And as time goes on, she runs into the cops who killed her family, her husband and her daughter, and her baby daughter. Yeah, it was actually killed when she was an infant. And she's like, the cops, they started harassing her, like, "Hey, Dizzy, I see you out of jail. I see you got out." They started harassing her, and they were about to rape her and stuff like that. And then they get a call. They say, and the call is pretty much just saying, "Don't kill her." And basically what happens is, towards the end of the story, an entire club is shot up, and it's of the gang members. The Kings. I think it's the Kings who are also the rival gangs of the Bloods, and I should say Vice Lords. I'm sorry. And what happens is they go and kill all these people. Now, Dizzy's friend, so-called friend, you can kind of tell he knew what would happen. He set it up. His thing was he was working with the cops so that he can get his money. He basically was working with the cops. He didn't want to tell Dizzy. But eventually Dizzy found out. She found out that he was working with the cops all along, and he had something to do with. That's right. He had something to do with the death of her family. And when she found that out, execution time. The story has a lot of slang in here. It's dealing with urban stuff. Like I said, a lot of slang in here, but it works so good. Brian Azzarello makes his work so well. You actually feel like you're watching. If anybody is familiar with a show like The Wire or something like that, you feel like you're watching something like that, but you're reading it. And this story is just great. The ending, basically, what happens at the end is Dizzy gets up with the cops and she kills him. And an agent who was following her, they said, you did the right thing. And that's the end of the first story. That's the gist of it. I'm not going to tell everything, every little detail, but that's the gist of what happened in the first story. This is just the first story, mind you, with all the stuff happening. And this is probably one of the best books I've read in a long time. I'm not just saying that to just to say it. It is really good. If you're gonna pick up anything new or interesting you want to learn, if you just want to read something that's just different and has a very urban feel to it, and kind of a crime drama thing, pick up 100 Bullets. It is great. The next story I'm not going to talk about because there was one more story in this book. I think there's 3 in here. No, there was only 2 in the first volume. And I'm really interested to see what Agent Grove's thing is. I've read some stuff on Wikipedia, but I don't want to spoil it for myself. I don't want to go ahead and read. I want to read it in volume, and in the volumes, I want to find out what's going to happen myself. But this is a very interesting tale that Brian Azzarello has come up with. Basically, like I said, a bunch of short stories that's going to intertwine. I'm wondering what Agent Grove's, what his deal is. What exactly is he? Is he part of some higher organization? Is he, I don't know, working with the government or something like that? I'm really interested to see what Agent Graves is going to do. It is just very good. I very much enjoyed this. And I'm not the only one. The writers who enjoyed this were Warren Ellis. I'm basically going to read some quotes that they said that they liked. Death, power, sex, money, secrets, bullets. These are the only things worth talking about. This is why I love 100 Bullets. This is said by Warren Ellis. This is on the back of the trade I have. Garth Ennis, easily the most interesting and able writer to come along in the last few years. Brian Azzarello hits the target every single time with 100 Bullets. Definitely one to watch. Greg Rucka, for a Nyora junkie like myself who is always looking for the new spin on old school, I feel like I've died and gone to collateral heaven. It honestly does not get much better than this. Dave Gibbons, 100 Bullet has an intriguing premise, a fascinating protagonist, and some of the most accomplished storytelling ever I've seen. A bullseye 100 times over. Dave Gibbons. And these different writers are just praising this book, and I see why. It is very good. So, like I said, if you're looking for something new, you're looking for something to get your hands on that's going to get you away from the mainstream and is going to keep your attention for a while, definitely pick up 100 Bullets. It is the shit. Bloody days, gory nights. I am out, YouTube.